Bill Holtz, good morning, gentlemen. I greatly enjoy the podcast. When Dutch was in WWE, was his pay itemised? In other words, did he get details of how much of his income was from pay-per-view, merchandise, house shows, etc., or was it just a monthly amount?
What's his name?
Bill Holtz.
Bill, what are you, an IRS agent? So if you're not, you have no right at all to ask me about my finances. But I'll answer it anyway. Paid weekly. Very weekly. I would get a notice of that, or some kind of piece of paper on how much I got from sales of merchandise or some kind of tape or something. But when it's allotted down, it was like 1/2% or whatever. I guess because my spot on it wasn't that important, I guess. Most of the people, say they signed for $500,000 a year. And of course, they ran all these house shows, and it didn't matter what they paid them because it was going to be made up or tallied up at the end of the year anyway. And say their sales or their house show events only amounted to, say, $325,000. Then they would add in the merchandise. Then they would add in the other stuff. And if they had any to make up, you'd reach your 500,000 mark. But if you had a 500,000 mark and you went over that, it was highly, highly possible you could end up making $1 million. But when they first started, that wasn't Vince's MO, because one of the first contracts I signed back for the old WWF, yes, it only guaranteed you a yearly income of $1,500. Then after that, if you wanted to work for somebody else, you'd have to call them up and get their okay on it. And I was saying, what the? But if you want to work for them, if you're in no position to negotiate, you'd have to talk to them about it. And if you weren't that important to it, they'd just say, no, we don't even need you.
We've got a second person with a similar question, so I wanted to lump them together. Johnny says, hello, guys. I love the show. Quick question. Please ask Dutch, in the territory days when wrestlers were paid only based on the total gate that fluctuates from town to town and territory, how did the wrestlers finance houses or even cars without a consistent proof of income?
A different era. I'll say that. I think sometimes when I bought a couple of houses, they ask you what you made per year. You just put down a figure. And they just made sure you had a job. I think that was the extent of it. Even with the car, they would call up, where you're working. Hey, does so-and-so, does Dutch work there or whatever? Yeah, but he said he made this. Yeah, it sounds right. Okay. And that was it. That's how they do it. It was a different era. So now if you tried to do it, they say, are you kidding? Get the hell out of here. You can't do this. You can't buy this because you haven't shown proof of a consistent income or job, really. So that's how they did it.